sometimes I may feel like I'm in the back burner,
Right.
but it's not really that. It's we're evolving as humans, which is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So yeah, you're marrying the unknown, and you know, again, like, how do men deal with that? How do women deal with that? So
Right.
it's never a thing where it's just a one script, one blueprint. You're
Right.
continuously trying to figure things out, communication, and I want to have real conversations about how people deal with these things.
Yeah.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of Inside the Mind. I'm your host, John Reese, and we got my guy back in the building because the internet loves to butcher stuff, as I said in another episode. But we are here with the coach from Handsome Muscle, Mr. James Hurst. Clap it up. I'll do the clap.
Hello.
Yes. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great. Just survived the holidays, and you did too, barely. And here we are, New Year,
surviving the holidays.
Here we go.
How? Speaking of that, because of course, I got sick, but I made sure I put emphasis on being present, being accessible with my family, friends. You know, if they wanted to go out, cool. If they wanted to go out and eat or whatever the case was, I just made sure I was available. It wasn't a hard no, as it would be when I'm in prep. So as a coach, because you've coached, you know, Olympians, you've coached people who've turned pro, you've turned 15 people pro. What advice do you give your athletes when we get around this season now? I mean, the New Year's here now, but when we're around that Thanksgiving, Christmas time, like, what is your approach with your athletes?
Well, I'm like, so they have a certain set of macros, right? And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, enjoy some good food, but try your best to stay within your macros, right? And obviously stay active daily as well. Get your steps in. Usually, 10K steps a day. And you're going to be fine. Just don't go off the deep end and completely just put structure aside, right? And just eat a bunch of bullshit. I mean, John Jewett just posted a great post about off season, how to have a great off season. It's like, like the myths and the truths of things. Like, people are against cardio. Like, for some reason, off season, people are against cardio. Hey, cardiovascular health, that means heart health. It's good for you, right? And it kind of keeps your metabolism firing. Allows you to stay in shape, like literally stay in shape. And food choices, right? If we eat a bunch of sugar and shit, we're going to put on all this body fat in the off season, and then we're going to have to kill ourselves during prep. There's no reason why you can't stay in shape on the off season, even during the holidays. Hey, holidays like 3 days, it's not, you don't have to, but people give themselves the excuse, hey, it's the holidays. I mean, my check-ins, honestly, well, all-time low this December. I'm very disappointed in you guys. Everybody's using the holidays as an excuse when it shouldn't.
Right.
It should just work into our lives. And it depends on how serious you are about your goals too. If you're just a lifestyle client, okay, a little more leeway. Hey, if you're trying to get your pro card or qualify for Olympia, yeah, you got to tighten it up. I mean, when I competed, I prepped through the holidays, birthdays, and everything. But we do since shows are pretty far away, we do allow a little bit of balance there. But like I said, I'm like, here's your macros. Stay within the macros. Enjoy some food, but stay within those macros, right? And don't overload on sugar and just bullshit food, right? Try to keep the real food there. Try to keep your protein intake. Hit those marks especially, and stay active.
Yeah, I would say my first 2 years, especially after 2020, when I lost my pro card by 1 point, I used every excuse in the world just because I was upset. Whatever, it's the holidays, I'm about to eat. And I got up to like 235 heavy, and lucky I didn't go back on stage till the summer of next year, but getting myself back to a position where my body was optimal, yeah, that took like 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, and then you're like, fuck, why did I do that, right? And there's I mean, we all go through it. You know, you went through it. Now you can teach people not to do it, right? We got to go through experiences in order to be good coaches, good leaders, right?
Yes.
And be vulnerable about it, be open about it, not pretend like we're perfect all the time, because no one is.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, it messed with me a little bit to the point where it's like, man, why did I let myself get to this point? But it made me stronger in the long run, knowing because I did have to work extremely harder than usual to kind of get back to, the optimum level. But yeah, it's not necessary. So, as a coach, coming into the new year, like we was talking about before, like the new year, new me, your athletes are excited. They want to do this and do that. How do you juggle those? And I'm gonna raise my hand because I'm this one. They see a schedule. It's like, coach, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. How do you juggle that based off where they're at? Like, what is your approach to that?
I mean, we just kind of take a step back and look at the bigger picture. First, we kind of look at how they did last year and what improvements they need to make, and set a realistic timeline, to get that point. And also, keep in mind who you're competing against as well, right? A lot of guys want, just even on the amateur level, a lot of guys want to do those national shows this year. I'm like, did you see who competed in like nationals, right? Because those same guys who compete in nationals are coming back very first show, most likely the very first show
Yep.
of national show of next season, right? Because if you do it the right way, like I did 7 national shows. Because you want to be seen, you got to be seen. You got to keep on showing up, show after show after show, until you don't have any more money in your bank account. but anyway, yeah, we analyze the situation, say, hey, what improvements do we need? Like, what's a realistic timeline for that? Because it doesn't happen overnight. And then we start picking out shows. So, a lot of people that I'm coaching aren't starting, shows till like July or so. Some,
Okay.
few are doing a little earlier because they stayed in shape during the winter season. So those guys guys and girls that stayed in shape, obviously get to compete a little earlier in the season, because we don't want to kill you to get in shape. We want to do a nice long prep and do it the right way. Keep on as much lean muscle as possible.
Mhm.
So for me, it's like I like long preps. And my coach Ariel, he taught me that, like, the key is to do longer preps. You always come in better. You don't sacrifice size, and you come in with better conditioning.
Man, that is the absolute truth. I know my first year, I did like a show like every month. I was just happy, like, man, I can get in this type shape. Oh, I'm doing it, I'm
Yeah.
doing it, I'm doing it. And then literally at the end of the year, I went to nationals in Miami, and it was my first, taste of it. And I was like, oh, okay, this is different. I landed in first call outs. I think I placed 6. So then the following year, I didn't go up. COVID year, actually, I went to Pittsburgh, which was the end of August. So that was like 8, 9 months, something like that. And then the following year was back in July after going through that 35 pound gain. So yeah, anything has been 7 months or over up until my pro debut. And I just got thirsty and did a 10-week prep, and I got slapped in the face for it. So the the key thing I would tell everyone is just patience, man. Do you
Yeah.
have what is your voice of reason with the athlete that may consider themselves impatient?
I use examples of people. I mean, there's some people that are just recently in nationals. It's like these guys I've been seeing compete for like 3 or 4 years. I'm like, check this guy out. He it took time. It takes time.
Mhm.
It's tough to get that across, but um, for most guys, I mean, sometimes I do let them do a show, like national show, prematurely. Then they get a taste of it, and they're like, oh shit, yeah, I do need. But I don't like to do it, because I don't like to waste anybody's time or money, right?
Right.
If they absolutely insist, okay, they're gonna be in shape, but a lot of times outsized, because it takes time to grow.
Mhm.
I mean, the guys are getting bigger and bigger. I mean, now there's a weight cap coming, so we'll see how that plays. Like we talked off off air, and we decided that it's probably going to be a lot more conditioned aesthetic look coming into the season, because the guys are sizing down, and with that comes better conditioning, and kind of brings it back to the root of men's physique. I mean, back in 2012, I always try. When I started, I tried to be the most shredded guy on stage, and I always did pretty well for myself. Now it's evolved. It's almost like the biggest guy was winning every time, but now let's meet in the middle there, right?
Yeah.
Proportion and conditioning, good stage presentation. Let's not forget about that. No, take away the awkward posing. Like I don't know. I see a lot of. I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but guys overseas, it's just the posing is different. It is. Ryan Terry, for example, his posing was awful for a long time, but he really made improvements to that. I think he worked with Omar a bit, and he got that down. So posing's a lot better. Plus his physique is obviously phenomenal, right? So he brought the two together, and he became Mr. Olympia.
10 years knocking on that door, man. That's
like
exactly what you're just saying, like patience.
Ryan Terry, yeah, I'll just use Ryan Terry's example. Look at this guy. Of course, he was doing well, but it took him 10 years. I mean, he kind of fell out of that Olympia race for a few years there too, but he was still there. But 10 years in the game, and he finally became Mr. Olympia because he just kept on getting better, little by little, right? Imagine getting little, like 5% better each year, for 10 years, for a decade.
And that
you're
be
50% better than you were when you started, right? So it's pretty crazy.
That has to be tough because, like, again, we're in the microwave age. Everybody wants it like this now. No one wants to sit in the oven for a little bit and bake whatever you need to bake as far as that reference goes. But with this weight cap, so the scale could be a mind fuck, for long better shorter words. It
Now it
can
is.
be, but
Yeah.
now we as men physique competitors have to focus on that. And I know I used to tell my clients, look, don't focus on the scale, we're focusing on the look. But now it's both. Is that something you're concerned about? And what would be your approach to that?
I mean, I don't have too many athletes that are huge, so I'm not really concerned about it now. But I'm sure I will come across that, and I do hate making weight. I mean, I coach some classic guys. It just I just hate it. It adds another stress factor, right? Someone might look phenomenal, but hey, man, you still got to drop, make the weight, and so that obviously you want to be below the weight come like a week before check-ins or so you don't have to manipulate water. But sometimes you got to screw with the water and food, and it just it messes. Sometimes it will mess up your peak and your overall look. So that's why again, we're talking off air, and I kind of like the thought of just judging maybe a little differently rather than put a weight cap for men's physique. But I mean, because they're not showing their legs, right? It's like, I understand having a weight cap for bodybuilding and classic because we're showing the whole physique and the legs.
Right.
Men's physique, I mean, we're just showing, half the physique. So I don't know. We'll see how long this lasts. If it's a long-term thing, they're just going to try it out. I mean, they tried out the point system.
That went away real quick.
Yeah, and that was the year my wife actually won the very first Philippines show, and she actually didn't make it to Olympia because she didn't, gather enough points. So that kind of sucks. That was just the 1 year. Yeah, so that kind of sucked. And I was competing the same year, and I was like killing myself I was always fighting. I was fighting with Xavius. We're going neck and neck for that 5th place every show, and we're like, what? At a certain point, I'm like, okay, what's the point? I'm getting like 1 point. I'm not going to get in the top 5 in points.
Xavier's. I wonder where he's at, man. I wonder how he's doing. I ain't heard from
He's
him in a
doing good.
minute.
He's doing some like everybody is doing some music now.
Yeah.
I might start doing it myself.
Hey,
You
whatever
know,
works.
I just need a good beat, and I'm good to go.
Like, there you go, man. So I want to talk about the mindset of Mr. Worley, Mr. Bo, because you coached him to the Olympia. So is there a different mindset you have to I guess excel and become the premier of the league, I guess, because he's however many Olympians it was that year, he was on that list. It's something we all strive for. So if you can talk to me a little bit about his mindset and what it took for him to go in and actually win a show and qualify.
Well, he didn't win a show,
Oh, he went
but
on
he
by
qualified.
points, right?
Yeah, but he should have won a show, and he did very well that year because he brought. Okay, with Bo, he's a very confident guy, and that's what it takes. He's very confident in himself and what he can do, and he knows if he puts his full effort toward it, he can only beat himself.
Mm,
So that's a mindset. I mean, we're just really well connected that year. Everything was just grooving, right? He's just hitting everything on the mark. I know exactly if I give you this, this is what you're gonna look like. So that year we really nailed it. And we're gonna make a comeback. We'll be back there because we're gonna get
for
on that same
sure.
track. He's local now here in Arizona, so we're gonna get more chances to link up, train, pose, and just stay better, even more connected than we have in the past.
Nice, nice,
But yeah, the
nice.
confidence is what you have to believe in yourself. Like you'll hear people say they believe in themselves, but you don't believe it, right? You
Mm,
really gotta fucking believe in yourself. Like there'd be situations where I'm doing fasted cardio and I get goosebumps because I can picture myself with that trophy. I could, you got to be able to manifest it. If you can't, it's not going to happen because you don't fully actually believe in yourself. And there's been times where I didn't have that same feeling. I was digging, couldn't find those goosebumps. And guess
mm,
what? I was falling short those years because I knew maybe in my heart I wasn't doing all that I can do. Maybe I wasn't putting in all my effort, and I didn't fully actually believe in myself, which is a downfall of a lot of competitors. That I mean, again, like I was saying, it's you could be your biggest roadblock during the prep because inside the mind athlete, right?
right.
It's mental. Like
Why
it's
you think that
fucking
is though?
grueling.
Like we pay for our coach, we pay for the plan, we do these training sessions, we're breaking the bank, we're doing all this stuff, but where is the lapse in that as far as I'm doing all this work, but why can't I gain this confidence? Is it something that's taken away? Is it something they lose within the prep? Like, where do you think the lapse is in that?
I'm going to tell you exactly where it's at. It's in social media because
Ugh.
constantly it is. I mean, to tell you the truth, because I started in 2012, very little social media, and guys were a lot more confident in themselves. Then as social media grows, we look at people, we want to be them. We're not close to being like that, so we're constantly comparing ourselves, and that's what we put ourselves down because we're not on that level. Even though we
Mm,
don't take in mind, hey, how long it took this person to get there, well, what supplements or whatever they're on, or if this is even a real picture of them. But we are still constantly comparing ourselves to these other people, and that makes us doubt our capability. I mean, we've all been there, and I see that in a
yes.
lot of younger athletes too. Like, this is what I want to look like. Like they just started bodybuilding, and they'll send me a picture, like Ryan Terry, right? This is my goal. I'm like, well, you give me 10 years, and let's see what we can do. And some really superior genetics, we can dig those up as well. Dig for treasure on a beach and try to find those Ryan Terry genetics, and give me 10 years, and let's see what happens. But my main goal, like coaching, is to bring out the best in everybody, and
Mm,
at the end of the day, make you happy about yourself. Because that's my job. That's why I got into this. Trophies and pro cards, okay, those are great accomplishments, but does that define you? No. What
No.
defines you is your character, the way you treat other people, and what you contribute to the world. So that's inside of my mind. That's what I'm trying to do. If you're just trying to do it for a paycheck, or you think you're gonna be famous, whatever, man, you're not gonna last in this industry, because you're gonna taste a dose of reality really quick. We've seen it with some former Olympians, like trying to get too big too quick, like just like C-Bum's just a great ambassador of sport. He's like very humble. He's thankful, and I mean, I see him maybe doing it one more Olympia than having a kid and say adios. Like I did what I had to do, and now
Which is
and
crazy if
and
he
I'm gonna
does
live my
that.
life, right? Like,
Right.
because they're like, oh, he's gonna go open bodybuilding. I said, why? He probably makes, honestly, he makes tons of money. I mean, he's with the right people. They're setting him on a path for success. He's built his brand in a kind of a short amount of time, if you think about it. But
Uh-huh.
that's what everybody wants to be that gets in a bodybuilding, right? I'm gonna be C-Bum, and
He's
reality
like the
is,
prototype.
I mean,
Seriously.
I mean,
Like,
he's he's a good mentor, right? He's someone you
mhm.
can look up to. He's not a dirt bag. Like, he seems like a really fucking good guy. Would want to hang out with C-Bum, take some shots of tequila, like
Mhm.
C-Bum. Yeah, just hit me up, bro. Let's do this. But yeah, it's just a very relation, right? To be a good coach, be successful, you got to be relatable to people, and you got to keep it real. People can sniff out bullshit from a mile away, and we're constantly fed bullshit through social media. And you got to be kind of logical and just be honest with yourself. Where you're
It's
at and
tough,
where you're
man.
gonna go.
It's real tough because you're right about the social media thing. Like, again, I attribute my first two, I even say three, as like a learning curve. Like, I really attribute because really the first two, like I found myself diving into social media all the time. Like, and like I talked to you, like my favorite athlete being Chiron. And it's just like, man, like he's huge. Like I need to get like him. Like, what is he doing? And so on and so forth. And
Mm,
it's just like, man, I ain't gonna never get there. And then you realize, like, oh, these dudes have been training for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and I'm barely in year two. Well, duh, of course. Like, and then so
yeah,
again,
it's
you
like,
have to,
yeah,
there you go. You have to have the logic to understand that. But I guess like when you're in it and you're chasing, which you're talking about the pro card, because I was one of those people too. Like, man, I'm gonna get this pro card and I'm gonna just take off. The only place I was going to was my house. I wasn't taking off nowhere. Like, and it just is what it is. The pro card doesn't give you this rich and famous whatever you think. It's not that. It's a very illustrious achievement because you put in the work and you get it. But all that does is knock you back down the totem pole, and you got to
yeah,
climb back up that mountain again the same way you did it when you were an amateur. And getting into it, I didn't know that. I was always comparing, and it took my pro debut to understand, like, all right, you have to start from scratch. Take the year off, do what you need to do, and work your way back up. Like, I didn't turn pro in 1, 2 shows. It took me 10 shows.
yeah.
So it just is what it is. But you're right. Social media, it could be a rabbit hole for
We
sure.
need it. I mean, we need it for business and whatnot, but it's like, people do get sucked in and start, just comparing themselves, and they get inside their heads, and now they get so focused on putting energy toward what other people are doing that they lose focus of what they're trying to do. I mean, I've seen it with clients. They start tweaking their plan and their training because of what someone else is doing. Hey, what that guy's doing might not work for you. There's a reason why we're doing what we're doing here. So I got to kind of reel them back, because I mean, you probably had clients or have clients that start doing all this other stuff outside of your game plan, and you're trying to figure out what the fuck they're doing. And you're like, then I mean, I have clients do this sometimes. Like, send me exactly what you're eating and exactly what you're training. You're like, oh, you sent that to me already, coach. I'm like, no, send me, because I know you're not doing it. Send me exactly what you're doing, because I've been doing this shit for too long to know what's working or not working and what they're doing. Like, this should be working. Like, you'll have a certain
Exactly.
amount of calories. You're burning a certain amount of calories. You're taking in a certain amount of calories. This isn't adding up, right? Well, this guy's eating Pop-Tarts before his workout.
So what, man?
No, I mean, we hear it all the time, just dumb shit.
Right.
I mean, I like to keep it simple and stay focused on what I'm trying to do. But it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard to tune everything out around you. Like,
It is, man. My favorite saying is, allow me to coach with you. Don't let me coach against you. So if I don't know what you're doing, it's going to come up sometime or another where I go to make adjustments and you done tweak something way before then. And now this adjustment I'm about to make is not going to work. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? And now I'm coaching against you because we got to backtrack to figure out what
oh
happened.
God, yeah. And then you're playing detective. It's like, yeah, you ask 21 questions to figure out what's going on. And you're like, okay. Uh, let's get back on track. And if it's like, hopefully, sometimes it happens like pretty close to prep, and you're trying to fucking solve a Rubik's cube in 2 seconds, right? It's like it's hard to do.
Yeah, for no reason. So with social media, with all the comparing and all the hype around the division and all this crazy stuff that was going on in 2023, where do you see bodybuilding being a plus for someone's mental health?
Oh, I mean, bodybuilding is one of the more healthier addictions, right? So a lot of people fall into depressions and stuff, right? Because they wake up with, they don't wake up with ambition, right? Wake up with
Mhm.
a game plan. They're not surrounded by people that are into the same thing that they're into. This all caught. I mean, I was watching this series on people who lived 100 years old, and these are actually factors too. Having a sense of community, having a purpose. That's what word I was
Mm.
looking for. Waking up with a purpose. So if they have a goal in mind, it could be losing weight, getting ready for a show, or whatever. But waking up with a goal in mind can really help your mental health and give you a purpose. And with that purpose, you can just propel. Anxiety tends to come down, and as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, and you're happy with yourself, and the effort that you're putting in every day, and you forget about the outside noise, and really don't let the outcome, if you're competing, right, determine how you feel about yourself at the end of the day. Because hey, you could be coming from a bad place, and you could prep for a show, and you could come out the end, and hey, you could place last place, but hey, you're way better than you were 3 to 6 months ago. You're in a way better place in life, and you're forming better relationships. You're more ambitious, and competing, like bodybuilding, you're structured, drives ambition, usually helps with your careers, helps with your relationships for the most part. I mean, some people it doesn't help with the relationships, but uh it could really help, definitely boost your mental health.
Yeah, I feel like it's done that for me. I got into it. First of all, I was only supposed to do one show, and it was a
How it
promise
always
to,
works. Yeah.
right. And it was a promise to my mom, before she passed, and I'm very thankful I found it. Um, Now, in the midst of it, I kind of lost myself chasing stuff, which is what we talked about. But yeah, like I wouldn't have met, people such as yourself, like I wouldn't have learned the things that I've like learned. I wouldn't have gained X amount of confidence as far as myself. I've always been like a confident person, but being able to like walking around with my shirt off, or being able to give someone any type of wisdom as far as how they can improve their physical functioning, their way of lifting, or their way of nutrition, like and I've gotten the coaching to give back, like not necessarily to make money, because I have my own 9 to 5 anyway, you know what I mean? So the only reason I coach, which I don't coach a lot of people, is like, look, I want to help. And if you have a dream of, competing or turning pro, or you just want to live a healthy lifestyle, then of course, like, I'm here. So I wouldn't have been in this position without bodybuilding, because this was something I definitely was not thinking about in the first place. So um it has helped my mental health functioning, as well as allowed me to help others. So like, I'm forever grateful for the sport, even though I've seen it go the total other way, where people have tarnished relationships, go broke, like, and yeah, I do not wish that on nobody. But have you seen instances like that as a coach? And what is your communication levels when it comes to stuff like that, when you have to have those hard conversations?
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen relationships fall apart. Marriages. And it's unfortunate. It's usually because there's probably something going on before all this, and it just kind of it's tough for a couple not to both be in it at the same time. It takes support. If you're not, competing, it takes support from that person to make it work, because it's a very selfish sport. You put a lot of time into it, especially having family stuff. It is taxing on a lot of relationships. So if you're prepping, you got to still create balance in your relationships, not only with your I'm not just talking about with your spouse or your significant other. I'm talking about with your friends too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, like I lost a lot of time with my good friends when I was competing. My wife was competing with me, so we're all good there. And we learned how to coincide and give each other space when needed too, and in our relationship. So that's important. Communication in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I lost a lot of time with friends too, and I had to kind of apologize later on in life, saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, I was kind of selfish." But they're like, "We knew what you're trying to do, or like building your life, on this," and that's what happened. I didn't think I was gonna be doing this as a career. I didn't know what the hell I was gonna do, but I found a passion for helping people, and and as you could tell, I love talking. So like talking to people is chopping up, getting to know people, like just taking
Mm-hmm.
time. I do phone consultations all the time, and I'm on the phone for like an hour with people that aren't even my client yet, right? Because I'm just trying to get to know them. I'm just
Right.
not shooting rates at them. Say, hey, this is my rate. Sign up with me. It's like, no, I want to get to know you, see if this is a good fit for both of us, as well, because I want this to be a long-term um, relationship. But yeah,
Exactly.
unfortunately, I have seen, a lot of relationships tarnished, because it is a selfish sport, and you know, um, it's just part of it. I wish it wasn't,
No,
but
it
it
is.
is. Yeah,
That's a
and
lesson.
well, you
Mhm.
gotta. Oh, here's another point. You gotta, kind of think about what your priorities are, right? Because like some kids, go to school. You know, take care of that. Don't let that. Don't put school and your future aside for bodybuilding, because the stage will always be there. Um, and you shouldn't be going broke, bodybuilding either. You like, make sure your living situation's great. Make sure you're not in serious debt, because you're going to accumulate all this debt, and later on you're like, man, what for what? And just priorities first, right? Your relationships, your financial situation, job, your job situation, because that's your livelihood. Put all that first, and then competing is there. Competing
Yep.
should work into your life, and easy enough for me to say. This is like when I prep, I was training people, right? Because it's just part of my lifestyle. So I give it up for people with 9 to 5s. With the kids on top of that, it's like, man, that takes a lot. Like that, I give it up to all you guys, like full heartedly, like That is tough. And to put all your effort into a prep, that's all your energy. There's nothing left of you at the end of the night. You should be sleeping like a baby.
Oh, I do. Trust me. When I get the opportunity to lay down, trust me, I do. And I had a hard time distinguishing that, like, that first year. So my first year competing, my wife was actually pregnant. So going through like the show April, May, June, July, August, like shows back to back to back to back to back. My daughter was born in September. I did nationals in November. I was still, chasing whatever. So what ended up happening was the following year, like me and my wife pulled me to the side. We had a real conversation, and she was like, "Look, the house, me, we need to be priority. And I know like you love us, but we need to be priority. Bodybuilding is going to be there. Same stuff you just told me. Again, like I had to be an adult and a man enough to actually be like, you know what, you're right, and not be defensive in that moment. So ever since then, it's about, okay, as long as the house is fine, my wife's fine, my daughter's fine, then I need to create time for the other stuff, not the other way around. So,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
very well said. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. It's just, but as you know, we get so fucking wrapped up into it. The chase, as you're saying, we're both chasing a pro car, right?
Yep.
2 years. And then don't get caught in the chase of trying to be Olympian and just, I'm telling you, because I did it and I wasted like, it's kind of like when I was done already and I kind of knew it, but I'm like, yeah, maybe I could, I'm getting
Look,
that top five. Maybe I could do it, right? And I kept on
right.
pushing, pushing, just like, and just it kept on pushing everything. You know, everything became a little blurry around me, right? I wasn't in the
Mhm.
moment. I was just so hyper focused on myself and what I was doing. I was losing track of what was, around me, and that's a life lesson. uh,
Absolutely. For me, it is a goal. It's not the end all be all though. Now,
Good,
when I
yeah.
turned pro and was going into like the following year, like, yeah, I'm gonna do this and do this, and then ran into like gut issues and had to push back the prep and then, so on and so forth. I think had I not took all of 2023 off, I would still be in that mind frame, like, yeah, I really want to do this no matter how long it takes. But now I'm so far removed from the chasing aspect. Like, of course, I'm competitive. I want to win. Like, I'm not in this just to be like placing last or whatever. But I understand that can happen. I can place last at any show. I could also place first. And then whatever else falls in between that is what happens. And I have to be okay with that as long as I put my best foot forward. If I just so happen to win a show and I'll qualify for the Olympia, thank you, God. Thank you. I put out my best. That was the goal. If I don't obtain that goal, it's not the end of the world for me. And I think sometimes that happens. People get so caught up in the chase, it's the end of the world for them if they don't
Oh yes,
obtain it. And it's like, okay, when did that even become a thing?
I
So that's
mean,
that's always my
since the beginning,
yeah.
everybody, everybody's obsessed with the chase. I mean, look at sports, right? That only one team can win the championship. Everybody's
Yeah,
obsessed with trying to get there, but obviously they're getting paid a lot more than us. Like we only get paid if we place top three, and it's like
exactly.
it's not, it's not the best money, but hey, first time I got cut a check for competing, it felt pretty good because like
There you go.
this is cool. This pays for a week of meal prep or whatever, but it's not even the money. It's like the I don't know, just getting paid to do something that you love and you've been doing for a decade. At the time, yeah, it was a decade. Now it's been two. Um, Damn, I'm getting old, bro. But it's all this whole thing is all about perspective. It's like
Yeah, you
you
gotta have the
yeah,
right perspective
yeah.
anyway. Like, honestly, for me, I'm not saying I wouldn't accept the money, but the fact of me winning, that would more so validate the work that it took to get that over the money. You know what I mean? Like, again, like I would accept it if whenever that happens, but to have that moment like, dang, like I did all that work to finally validate the work that I put in. I'm not searching for social media validation, like, oh, let me hurry up and post this. Like, nah, like this is a validation for me and my family. Like, will I post it? Absolutely. But I will put in detail all the people that helped me get to this point and speak on the work and the sacrifice that happened. And put a message out there like, look, this can be any of you, honestly, and just be an inspiration and a conduit to people who's trying to strive to be, you know, a better them. So that's ultimately my goal, man. But if you would have asked me last year, oh yeah, I'm going to Olympia, I don't care, it's gonna happen, I just don't know when it's gonna happen. And it was just the chase, the thrill, the all that stuff that comes with it. But I'm so far removed from that now. It's like, it's crazy, man.
You know, validation comes in, you know, different ways, not just winning, right? It's just like, you know, someone
Mhm.
listening to your podcast, say, hey man, I really like what you're doing, what you're putting out there. So now you have this platform to do that. Um,
Yes.
and then you're using your platform as IFBB Pro. That's kind of helps, you know, lift that up too. I mean, I want to become a pro because I just wanted people to kind of listen to me because I knew, you know, if you have a title,
Mhm.
um, you know, in front or behind your name or whatever, people tend to listen to you more. I mean, honestly, that's the reason why I wanted to become a pro. I'm like, and a lot of people like followed my journey, and like, I think I was very, like you said, we talked about like relatability. Like you know, was never the biggest guy, or, you know, I wasn't meant to be a bodybuilder, but shit, I made it happen because I believed in myself. I believed that I could do it. And I never stopped grinding because I always believed I could do it. And then, you know, I had support, the right support around me, and, you know, my wife and stuff, never letting me quit, always validating, you know, she was my validation, say, hey, this is why you're doing this. So keep it up. Don't quit. Um,
Man, shout out to the wife, man.
You can't do,
Happy
you know, we can't
happy
do it
wife,
without
happy
them.
life.
Yeah, yeah, for real. And you know, she's still competing and just keeps being pushing to be in decent shape. So I can't fall, you know, too far back because then I'll look like super bad, right? We gotta be seen in public together. I can't be looking bad.
I'm sure you're not gonna let yourself go, man. You're around the sport too much to not do so.
Yeah, I'm just
So
skinny for life.
nah, you good. My guy, James, man, appreciate you so much, man. Again, my apologies. I don't know why I was frozen on the last one. I have
Hey,
nothing to do with the internet.
this is a great time. Maybe I'll take a selfie here.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Let's do it. 1, 2. Yeah, that's cool.
I got all right. Stay on for a little bit, and I can get you uploaded. We'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.